How you doing, guys, and welcome to this quick video. And I'm filming this with my iPad, so apologies for the quality, but I'm very busy, but I really wanted to get this out for you guys on the M50 group. And we're just going to talk about the viltrox adapter here versus the Speedbooster here. And behind I've got a EFS lens 10 to 18 and I've got an L lens 17 to 35 with a normal EF full frame mount. All right, so let's get into the adapters. The Speedbooster is called Mount Adapter EF-EOS M2 0.71 times. And the normal viltrox adapter is called Mount Adapter EF-EOS M, okay? The reason for this 0.71 is because that's how much it will reduce the crop. If you look on Canon M series cameras, crop sensor cameras, not even just M series, but any crop sensor, the crop is 1.6 times. It reduces it, basically. It's just a smaller sensor than a full frame, so it's smaller. When you put a Speedbooster on, it reduces that crop by 0.71 times. That just makes it significantly wider. It's still not full frame, but it's not far off. That's all it does, okay? When you look at a full frame sensor, a full frame sensor is much larger than this. It will come sort of around here somewhere, okay? What that does, it allows in more light and gives you a much bigger field of view, okay? When you're looking at a crop sensor camera, it's so much smaller. So if I connect these, let's hold this here now. I'm gonna put this Speedbooster on. And then you can see how much bigger my sensor looks, okay? Right, so that's nearly full frame. So what that is gonna do for me now, it's going to let in more light and it's going to give me a wider field of view. As you know, more light gives you less noise in your pictures. You can, put your ISO down a bit more to get less grain. If you're shooting in low light, it's going to allow more light in, so you're not going to, you aren't going to have to crank up your ISO like crazy. There's a lot of benefits in these, a lot of benefits. Is it a full frame camera? No. Is it going to be a replacement for a full frame camera? No. But some of us like the M series size. Look, it's so small, it's hiding behind this lens. Some of us like the size because they're amazing to carry. You can build them up and they've got really good features. The M50's got really good features. A lot of people saying that you can't do professional stuff with it. Don't listen to them. Just look at the group and you're going to see some people taking amazing shots on there. And if you think that you're going to spend double the money and get a full frame camera and your shots are going to be better, no, you're not. I'm afraid to tell you, no, you're not, because it's all down to the person, down to your eye and how much you know the camera. Okay, so with that rant out the way, let's get onto the lenses. Two lenses here, as I said, the EFS lens and a full frame lens. The first thing you're going to notice is the EF lens, you can see the mount is quite flat. Whereas the EFS lens, you can see right on the end there, that big plastic piece that sticks out. The reason for this big plastic piece to stick out is because when you're connecting this to a crop sensored camera, this part here can sit right up to the camera and allows your lens to cover the whole sensor, because that's what we want to do. We want a lens to cover the whole sensor. If we've got a full frame lens on a full frame camera, it covers the whole sensor, allows the maximum amount of light in, and we get a good depth of view. Fantastic. We can't just put one of these on our crop sensor camera because we haven't got a sensor that will cover this size of field of view. So then what we would do is we would get the viltrox Speedbooster, connect it on, and then we've got an adapter that makes our sensor bigger and covers the full frame of the camera. Fantastic. We've now near enough got a full frame camera lens working perfectly fine on our M50. Excellent. If we don't want to use a Speedbooster, we want to use a normal adapter, absolutely fine. But we're going to be using that on a crop sensor, so you're not going to allow the maximum amount of light. You're going to have back that 1.6 times crop, so your image is going to be smaller. Right, so that's the full frame lens. Now with the EFS lens, if we use a normal adapter, absolutely fine. We can put that on there and use that on our crop censored M50. We've got no problem. The problem comes when we want to connect this EFS lens to the Speedbooster. Now, because this black part sticks out so much, because it's meant to hit the crop sensor right up close, we can't get it in because it will hit the glass optical elements on the Speedbooster. You cannot fit that in. You cannot do it. The only way around it is if you cut this piece off here and then it will fit your lens, yeah? But the problem is, because this lens is made for a crop sensor, what happens is we're gonna get vignette. So imagine my hand is a black shadow. That's what you would get all the way around the lens, okay? And I'll try and demonstrate this in a minute. So really and truly, you cannot use an EFS lens on a speed booster on a crop camera. It's just not really worth it. The only reason why I buy EFS lenses is because they're cheaper than buying M lenses, okay? And then I've got a possibility of using these on future cameras depending on which one I go for. That's the reason why I've got these. Okay, so I think that kind of covers it. Speed booster, non-speed booster, okay? The non-speed booster, you can use EFS, EF lenses, no problem. With the speed booster, you cannot use EFS lenses unless you hack it, but it's not worth it because you get a heavy vignette and sometimes you might get errors on a lens as well. Your camera might throw up errors. So that's that. Right, so now I'm gonna put these, I'm gonna try these out on the M50 now, okay? Right, so if you look down the bottom here, just down the bottom here, you can see, you can see the two lines. We've got one here and then we've got the thicker one here, yeah? That one there and the thicker one there, okay? You can see the little space there. Now watch what happens when I change to the speed booster. Now look at how big the gap has gone down the bottom there. You can see how massive it is right down there. And also it's now letting in more light. It's absolutely perfect. A lot of people ask me to test the image quality. I'm not going to test the image quality because that all depends on which lens you're using, okay? All I'm going to say is when you're using a speed booster, unless it's really dark, don't use your lens wide open, okay? Just step it down f2 or whatever and your pictures are going to come out sharp. People wouldn't even be able to tell that you're using a speed booster. Maybe in the edge you might get a little bit of softness. Nothing that can't be, you know, nothing that's too distracting. It looks, to me, it looks absolutely perfect, and to most people it does. But with a speed booster on the M camera, it's definitely something that you want to be interested in getting. So the lens I'm putting on now, this is actually for crop sensor. Okay, this is a cine lens, so this is no problem in fitting on the speed booster. It's a Samyang. It's an EF, a proper EF mount. I'm going to show you the problem about using a crop sensor on a speed booster. Can you see those inner corners? We've got that vignette there. That's what's called a vignette. That is a black circle which is going to come on your footage, okay? If you use a speed booster on a crop sensor lens. That you don't want. Yes, it can let more light in, but that's what you're going to get, okay? Now, if I switch to 4K, say if I want video and I switch to 4K, so I'm going to go to the menu and I'm going to come out of here and I'm going to switch to 4K. We know that the M50 crops in, but when you're using a wide angle lens of a speed booster, as you can see, it's got rid of that vignette, and now we have the widest possible field of view we can have, whilst letting the most light in, and the vignette's gone. So even if you are using some crop censored lenses, not EFS, but crop censored lenses, there is still a benefit of having a speed booster with those lenses. You can still make it work. With photography, it's not about one lens fits all, or what works for you works for me, because it's not. There's so much more variables involved. But I think that's probably about it as far as I can go. I hope this cleared a few things up on how you can use the speed booster for yourself. If not, obviously, don't ask me no more questions because I'm not answering anymore. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Take it easy.